In this problem, we need to factor completely this polynomial here. There are 4 terms, so I want to factor it by grouping, but before I do that, I need to make sure there's no common factor between all 4 of the terms. So it's easier to do that if I look at all the factors of my numbers. So 21 is 3 times 7. 35 is 5 times 7. 6 is 2 times 3. And 10 is 2 times 5. So you can see there is no common numerical factor for all 4 terms. And also looking at the variables, I have an AX, a BX, an AY, and a BY. So there's no variable that's common to all 4 terms. So I'm just going to have to do this by factoring by grouping. So let's look at the first 2 terms. What do they have in common? Well, looking at the factors of my coefficients, you can see they have a 7 in common. And looking at the variables, they both have an x. So I can pull 7x out. And if I factor 7x out of 21ax, it's going to leave me with 3a plus pull a 7x out of a 35bx. Well, 7 goes into 35 5 times. Pull the x out, it's going to leave b behind. In factoring by grouping, we always bring down the middle sign. And now, what do the last 2 have in common? Well, looking at my numerical factors here, you can see they have a 2 in common. And what variable do they have in common? Well, they both have a y. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. You've got to be careful. You're factoring out a negative. When you factor out a negative, you're going to change the signs of both of these terms. So when I factor a negative 2y out of a negative 6ay, well, 2 goes into 6 3 times, and I factor a y out of an ay, it's going to leave an a. Now I'm factoring a negative 2y out of a negative 10by. So again, it's going to leave a positive. So factor a 2 out of a 10, it's going to leave me with 5. Factor a y out of a by, it's going to leave me with 5b. Just to make sure you got that part right, kind of mentally distribute that negative 2y back into these parentheses to make sure you get your original expression. So now we've done the first part of factoring by grouping, and factoring by grouping only works if this binomial is identical to that one. Are they the same? Yes, that is my common binomial factor. So I'm going to write 3a plus 5b. I'm going to factor that in front, and what does it leave behind? 7x minus 2y. And so now I have factored my polynomial, and that is the answer. Does it matter which order I write these 2 parentheses? No, I could have written 7x minus 2y as the first one, 3a plus 5b as the second.